After an absolutely electric 2025-2026 college football season, I couldn't have asked for anything more from the Fiesta Bowl or the Peach Bowl. Both games were phenomenal and have set us up for an amazing matchup in the college football national championship game. 2 weeks from now, we will watch as Indiana takes on Miami, who's at home in Hard Rock Stadium. I want to break down why each team is built for a national championship and make a couple of predictions for the game. Before we get into the video, I just really want to thank you all so much for the support as the channel has been balling out recently. I would greatly appreciate if you guys could like and subscribe, as only 5% of the people that are tuning in are actually subscribed. Thank you again for all the support, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's start off with the Hurricanes' performance this season, and specifically in the Fiesta Bowl. Miami stayed in control of the ball for over 40 minutes, while Ole Miss had a little over 18 minutes of possession. This allowed Miami to control the game, and even when things weren't going their way momentum-wise, they ate up time and made Ole Miss pay. Getting into the specifics, Miami was 11 for 19 on third downs and 2 for 2 on fourth downs. This efficiency is something we've seen from Miami consistently all season long, and could potentially be a difference maker in the national championship. Another general metric is turnovers. When Miami, specifically Carson Beck, keeps the ball out of opposing hands, Miami dominates scoring and efficiency. This game was a great example of Carson Beck's impressive ceiling. Aside from his tipped interception, he did a great job being accurate with the ball and made several throws downfield. His feet were a deciding factor, as he gained over 5 yards on several third down rushes, including the game winner. Mark Fletcher and Malachi Toney were both incredible as well. Fletcher carried them down the field on several drives, racking up 133 rushing yards, and Toney made multiple plays from behind the line of scrimmage for big gains for 92 yards and a touchdown in total. On defense, Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor were both neutralized by the Ole Miss offensive line, and Miami's elite duo, with only 2 pressures combined all game, looked like it finally met their match. The secondary had a few busted coverages, but mainly struggled to make plays on the ball and committed several penalties. The linebackers were really good on blitz plays and man coverage, but could not guard anyone within 5 yards in zone defense, which led to tons of chunk plays, especially by the Ole Miss tight ends, which in turn opened up the lane for QB scrambles. In the championship, they will face talented short route runners with a mobile QB, so it's definitely something to watch. We saw the same issues for the high-powered defense against Ohio State last week at times, but I'm sure the 2 weeks of rest is enough to fine-tune any issues for defensive coordinator Corey Heatherman, who's been fantastic all year. If Miami can keep this up, they 100% have a shot at beating anyone they face, but it's all in the hands of Beck's decision-making and the defense's discipline. Now let's look at Indiana and how they performed yesterday in the Peach Bowl as well as the whole season. The season itself was somewhat shaky for Indiana. At first, they barely beat Iowa, Oregon the first time around, and Penn State. Then came the Big Ten Championship, where they almost went into overtime against Ohio State if they had a kicker. However, the playoffs have been a completely different story. They absolutely killed Alabama and dismantled Oregon. In the Peach Bowl itself, Mendoza went 17 for 20, 177 passing yards, and 5 touchdowns. The ground attack, led by Kalon Black and Roman Hemby, totaled another 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. The offense looked spectacular, but don't let the yards fool you, because they had great field positioning thanks to key takeaways by the IU defense. The defense also had 10 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. As I watched the game, I noticed that Oregon, who has one of the best offensive lines in the country, couldn't do a thing against the way Indiana mixed up their blitz packages. The IU defense pressured Dante Moore almost every single play, forcing him to fumble and throw a crucial interception to start the game. Bryant Haynes, the Indiana defensive coordinator, was absolutely in his bag last night, and the only thing that looked like it could stop him was his own team. Indiana has looked flawless in the playoffs, but if there's anyone that can beat them, it's Miami, with a powerful front four and an offensive line that's just as unstoppable when it gets rolling. But I'm sure that Curt Cignetti will have his boys ready for another statistical masterclass 2 weeks from now, but maybe the 2 weeks of rest can also knock them off their game. Now I want to get into some of the matchup keys as well as the game script. Key 1 is tempo and time of possession. Miami wants long suffocating drives, while Indiana wants quick explosive scoring. If Miami can control the ball for over 35 minutes again, does Indiana have a counter? The IU defense has also not been forced to defend 12 to 15 play drives consistently at all this season, and Miami thrives when the game slows down and opponents get antsy. So let's see what IU does. Key number 2 is a quarterback stress test. Mendoza has proven himself time and time again, but this is the real test. Can he cap off a perfect season and stay flawless like greats before him like Joe Burrow and Stetson Bennett did throughout playoffs and regular seasons? Beck has faced criticism for his performance against top-ranked opponents, even though he's 15-3 in his collegiate career. So the real question is, can Beck keep silencing the doubters? Key number 3 is the red zone and third downs. Both teams have been equally as dominant in the red zone and third down efficiency. Indiana, however, has not had to consistently convert third downs in weeks, while Miami has been tested every round of the playoffs. Let's see if Indiana can show up to play even though they haven't faced a defense this hot since their regular season matchup against Ohio State. Now I want to get into predictions, X factors, and the final score. Miami's X factor is their offensive line. In several games when their O-line faced inconsistencies and was penalized, they were awful. In the playoffs, the offensive line has shined, which has played a huge part in their success. If Miami's O-line can open lanes for Mark Fletcher and keep the pocket clean for Carson Beck, Miami can keep this game close. Indiana's X factor is Fernando Mendoza. He's by far the best player in college football, and when he gets going, there's no stopping him. Not only has he been phenomenal all season long, but he's been flawless in the college football playoffs. If he keeps up the accuracy, trust in his receivers, and keeps making good decisions on his feet, this game can be a blowout for the Hoosiers. I predict that this game will be a lot more of a blowout than the score shows, though. My final score prediction is 45-31, Indiana winning. I think Miami will keep it close and get back into the game, but Indiana consistently gets off to hot starts and capitalizes severely off of mistakes. The Miami offense will perform well, and Beck will throw for multiple touchdowns, with Mark Fletcher topping 115 yards yet again, but it will be all too little, too late. The Indiana defense will have over 3 sacks, Fernando Mendoza will throw 3+ touchdowns, and have over an 80% completion percentage. Indiana's storybook season will come to an end, and they will go down as one of the best national champions of all time, among the ranks of 2019 LSU and 2022 Georgia and 2020 Alabama. This season has been wild, and regardless of who wins, this matchup is exactly why college football is the most entertaining sport on the planet. If you made it this far, hopefully you learned something. Share this video, like, subscribe, comment, and enjoy a fun weekend of playoff NFL football. This is House of Stats, signing off until next time.